The Honourable Kyle McGinn.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. And it's good to rise and talk on this report today. And note, it seems to be quite often that we talk about estimates and financial operations. It's good to get to one for 2022-2023. And I also acknowledge the committee, the staff, and all the hard work that goes into it. It was actually my first year being called upon to represent the Minister, which was really good, and found it quite an interesting experience, and had lots of questions asked in the portfolios, which was really good. I want to go to what the Honourable Clara Andrich touched on in part 3 of the report on page 2. Really got me thinking once the Honourable Clara Andrich mentioned what the goals of the government were described as in the report. And just in point 1, investing in WA's future, tackling climate action and supporting the arts, culture and sporting sectors to promote vibrant communities. You're really seeing that on the ground. I know just in the Goldfields alone on the weekend, went down to the local hockey that was being played. I think they were in their playoffs for their finals that are coming up this weekend. And there had been new lighting that was delivered by this government for the hockey fields, and it was really good to see the response from people and how happy the hockey nights were. Not my sport, but it was good to watch and sort of realise how dangerous that sport really is actually. With that ball flying around at 100 mile an hour. But the lights being delivered was fantastic. The member for Kalgoorlie, Ali Kent, alongside I think John Bowler was there as well. The city was there, and it was great to see that this project was delivered. Also, I spoke briefly, I think, in the last sitting around the local BMX track in the Goldfields and the delivery of a new track, which has been very, very positively received by the BMX community, and I think is in line with what it says here around promote and vibrant communities. Because this BMX track brings people from around WA once a year on the weekend of WA Day to the Goldfields. And BMX is one of those sports where the parents and the families really have to take part in it in a big way, volunteer, travel, drive, camp, do everything they need to do to get their kids to these events. And you see a vibrant community in Kalgoorlie on that weekend. You see BMX playing a pivotal role. But that weekend's not just holding that event. There's other supported events by the government as well. The Psy Classic is on the same weekend, where they ride for some crazy reason. People get on push bikes and ride all the way to Leonora. But first they ride to Menzies, and then the Shire of Menzies gets an opportunity to show how vibrant their community is by putting on a feed for the cyclists. And then the next day they cycle another 120 k's to Leonora. And what's happening in Leonora on that day? It's the Leonora Gift. Talk about innovation. We're going to have a running race in the middle of the main street on the road. No, the Honourable Martin Aldridge. I haven't quite got my time trials up to anything under 50 minutes yet, so so I don't want to embarrass myself. But what you do see, the Honourable Martin Aldridge, which is fantastic, is the young kids that come out and get to run with professional athletes. I know I know her last name, but Redingus, who has won the mile before out there, who actually went on, as she's a sprinter, went on to do the bobsledding in the Winter Olympics, from Leonora to Winter Olympics. And these are all from government-supported events, which, and I want to acknowledge the local governments that support it as well, because sometimes, whilst we might not agree, the local governments are trying to make a strong, vibrant community. And one more on the sporting things that I'm really proud of, and very proud of the member for Kalgoorlie, Ali Kent, for achieving, is we're now well underway in building a brand new basketball stadium for the Goldfields Giants. The Goldfields Giants were struggling with their current facilities, which potentially would have seen them struggle to stay in the competition. And the government, in the spirit of building a vibrant, strong sporting sector, has stepped up and working our way towards delivering that project. I think anyone that's been in the Goldfields would be well aware of the Giants and their fantastic community values that they purvey in the community. I do like with these reports, as I have in previous reports, I like to go to the appendixes and get a bit of an idea on the questions that, no, I'm not going to go to miscellaneous, I haven't found that one in here, but miscellaneous is always my favourite though. But I do like to get an understanding of the questions that were asked, and you get a bit of a vibe just by reading page 30, which was on the 20th of June for the Department of Justice. Some very pointed questions and very specific. And you can see that the committee has put in a lot of time to ensure they were asking a broad range of questions. I do turn to the Department of Education, and I couldn't help but stop at Country Week, and very intrigued to see how the committee went and what was the intent of questioning around Country Week. I think just from a perspective of being a country member, Country Week is a fantastic initiative that happens right across WA, where they come into the city and they play off, and the stories and the pride that comes back to the region. Very proud to say the Goldfields always comes back with a bag full of medals, and yeah, the Pilbara's not too bad, but the Goldfields is pretty fantastic. but the Kimberley goes well as well, and so does the Northwest Central. But it is really good to see the young kids that come in and meet other kids in regional WA, but also get to hang out with their mates as well within their sporting teams, and get away from home and get a bit of a taste of what's happening in the city, but also to compete at a higher level, which gets them an opportunity to be spotted and scouted, which probably doesn't happen most of the year for regional kids, playing their sport 650, 700 k's away, 1,000 k's away from Perth. So very interested in Country Week, and I hope that the committee got some positivities out of that questioning. And I'm looking forward to seeing Country Week continue to be on our calendar and continually be supported by, again, the parents and volunteers as well. A lot of these sporting programs require hours of volunteering, but also fundraising. And I do know you often find the Bunnings sausage sizzle occupied by a school or a sporting club on the Saturday selling hot dogs down there to try and raise funds for them to get to Country Week, or to, in the case of young Terence, actually is a young fellow who just got selected to throw darts for Australia under 18 from Boulder in Kalgoorlie Boulder. He had to raise $1,700 within a couple of weeks to be able to get across to that. But the community came in and did a fantastic job. I would be remiss of me also not to mention the CSRRF funding. I think that in the sporting side is something that I often get a lot of feedback from sporting organisations about, and it's all positive. It is one of those funds where when a sporting club comes to talk to you, you say, have a look at this. And before you know it, that organisation has gone and put something in, and it's been a very successful program, I believe, right across WA, and I can't stress enough how many clubs love that fund, but also how many clubs hear about that fund after another round's been released and then come straight in and ask what they can do to access that funding. So I think that the government's well and truly delivering in respect of that first stop point back to what the government goals were: investing in WA's future, tackling climate action, supporting the arts and culture and sporting sectors to promote vibrant communities. And I look forward to talking on to this report again once we've run out of speakers.